Returns aren't just bad for your profitability, they can do real damage to your reputation and your bottom line. Returns, especially those from customers who feel disappointed or misled, are more likely to generate negative reviews and people speaking poorly about you, even going to places like TikTok to take out their frustration. And if you're focused on growing a business, then the last thing that you want is to go viral for all the wrong reasons. That's why in today's video, we're going to be talking about what you can do to minimize your return rates, not only to increase customer trust and build your reputation, but to increase your profitability so that you can focus on growing your business instead of problem solving things that are going catastrophically wrong. Now, we're not going to be able to completely eliminate returns. There is going to be a natural return rate that is going to be influenced by the type of products you're selling. For example, clothing items or anything that has a fit component is going to have a higher return rate than something that's more straightforward. However, that doesn't mean that even if you sell in those categories, you cannot figure out ways of being able to lower your return rate. So one of the things that is important to do as you are strategizing and following the steps that we're going to be going through today is to first identify what your current average return rate is so that you can keep an eye on that, and then also benchmark it against what is normal and expected for your industry. You should be able to very easily find all of that information online, but this is hugely important whether you are selling on Amazon, on Walmart, on your own website. In fact, when you are selling on other marketplaces, your return rate is even more important because that can influence your ability to rank and perform well so that you are keeping a healthy account and demonstrating to those marketplaces that you are a reputable, reliable, trustworthy brand that is not going to erode their reputation. Because when you're selling on a marketplace, you have two reputations to keep in mind. Of course, yours, but also that of the marketplace that you are selling through. So before we get into figuring out how to minimize return rates, we need to get clear on why people are returning your products in the first place. If we don't know that, then we don't know where to focus our energy. So you should be able to very easily identify what are the top reasons that people are returning your items, but also do not neglect looking at your reviews, because even if somebody chooses to keep your item, maybe they're just, I have a lot of friends that fall into this category where even if they're not happy with a purchase, they rarely return it because it's just too much effort for them. So unless it's a really big ticket item, they're just kind of like, my loss, but it doesn't mean that they won't leave a negative review or speak badly about that product to their friends and family or even going online. And so just because it does not turn into a return with one person doesn't mean that it wouldn't be a return with somebody else. So your very first step that you want to do before you do anything else is figuring out what are people's pain points with your product. Why are they unhappy with it? Is this something that is about the design itself that needs to be improved on and iterated on, in which case that's a whole separate topic for a whole separate video? Or are there things that you could actually communicate more clearly that would help make sure that either the expectations are clear or that the right people are buying your product? Because we can fall into a really sticky, tempting honeypot trap, being that we just say to ourselves, well, obviously more customers are always better. But that's not necessarily the case, because if you are misleading people to buy your product just because you want more customers, even though you know that this item isn't good for them, then all you're doing is wasting your money trying to convert that customer, get that traffic into your page, but then having that then turn into a return or a negative review, and you're actually worse off than you were before that customer ever came into your funnel. So first, you need to identify why customers are unhappy with your product. If there are certain customers that are misunderstanding something about your offer. And then that third point where you need to get really clear about who your target customers are. I feel like I can never emphasize this too much because it's one of those points where no matter how many times you hear it, it's easy to dismiss or to say, oh yeah, well, I've kind of done that, but clearly I'm an exception. Well, you're probably not. If you lack customer clarity, if you are not laser focused on who your target customer is, then your marketing is not going to be as effective as it could be. And you are most likely attracting and converting customers that shouldn't actually be your customers. So what does that mean? That means creating a customer avatar. If you would like a worksheet about how to do that, I will drop a link in the description where you can fill out a short form and get a worksheet about how to put together a really compelling customer avatar, which will not only help you with this piece, but will really serve as a critical foundation for all of the other things that you're doing and decisions that you are making within your business. So make sure to grab that worksheet and to invest that effort and time into really honing in on who it is that you are talking to. So now that we've gotten that groundwork out of the way, let's dig into some specific strategies that you can use to minimize your return rates and have more happy customers, less unhappy customers, and grow a profitable, wonderful brand and business. So one of the key things to be thinking about is customer characteristics, in other words, their shopping behaviors, and also the devices that they are shopping on. And because we are selling online with e-commerce, you don't have control over what specific device your customer is on, and you certainly do not want to exclude a group of customers just because they are on desktop or mobile or iPad or what have you, tablet, vice versa. So we want to make sure that your product pages, your websites, your sales pages are honed in for every single kind of customers. And one of the most important ways to be able to do that is to really be thinking about your visuals and your text. And you want each of those to be able to operate as standalones as well as together. In other words, you may have those more visual shoppers who are really just scrolling through pictures versus people that are going to be a little bit more detail focused that may spend some time actually reading your text to ensure that they are getting the right product because they don't want the hassle of buying something and then finding out that it's not actually what they needed. So you need to make sure, especially in your images, that you are including all of those important need to know details so that even those visual shoppers are getting the information they need. It's also important to be thinking about what are perhaps some of those details that are going to be more effectively communicated through visuals. So for example, size. Just listing dimensions may not be something that everybody easily understands. However, when you have an image that is showing the real size of the item in reference to something else that is very familiar or a ruler or something else, that is going to really help people get a much stronger understanding of what this product is and what they can expect from it. As a side note, this is also where AI is really making a big impact because now you have, when it comes to clothing on Amazon, for example, you can choose from a variety of different body shapes for models to try on the clothing to see what it might look like on different types of bodies. And we are also seeing that with items that are decor or furniture that are going to be displayed or put into a space. And this is not just on Amazon. I've also used it on Target. I imagine that it's on a variety of different places. And I believe that Shopify may also have some of these capabilities, but don't take my word for that. When you are able to visually see it in your space, then it gives you a much stronger sense and understanding. So you really want to be giving every type of customer the information that they need to make sense of it in the way that they're going to. Because like I said, if I see that something is 4 by 5 by 7, I cannot instantly easily picture what that means Whereas if you set it next to a ruler or a keyboard or whatever it is, then I begin to more easily grasp the size and be able to evaluate whether it is a good fit for my needs. This is also where video can play a huge role, not just in communicating to a wide range of different types of knowledge and comprehension, but also thinking about those pain points or those points of confusion that a customer may have, and sort of confronting that on the front end by creating a video that is going to directly address that. So if there's something that's complicated about the item, if there's something that people frequently misunderstand about it, if they don't understand the mechanism of how it works, any of those things, by showing it in a video, then you're giving a much more tangible, real life example that is going to help people evaluate if this is a good choice for them. So you see, I'm stressing over and over again this importance of providing information that customers need to know to make a decision and to choose you. And you don't want to be dishonest with this. You really want to be thinking from a place of who is going to be delighted by this, who is going to be infuriated by this, and perhaps if there are people that really shouldn't buy your product, then you should also acknowledge and identify that. So let's say that you're selling something and it's really meant for a more professional level skill, be that something that's a fitness product or home improvement tool or something, maybe a very technical microphone that is not meant for the beginner novice user. Be clear about that, because why would you want to persuade somebody to buy this item, to be frustrated, to get upset, to maybe feel like they are stupid, and as a result, they're going to take that frustration out on you, not only by creating a return, but leaving a negative review. This is also another place where your packaging is hugely influential, both from a position of thinking about if there are questions or certain pieces of information that a customer is going to need immediately upon receiving the item, but also, and sometimes I think more overlooked, is having a little bit more creative, impressive, or unexpected packaging can go a long way to creating a more positive experience for your customer. Because if you are just opening something from a poly bag, that is not really going to give a sense of quality or fun or excitement in opening that item. Versus if your item is really uniquely packaged and has a little bit of branding and personality, then you are creating this whole experience. You are actually shaping the expectations, and people are then more likely to have a positive impression of your product just because of that extra effort that you put into having that branded packaging that is going to do something unexpected or increase the perception of quality. Those little details can go a really long way. Now, packaging in itself is, again, a whole separate video, but it just bears mentioning because it can have such an important influence at that very critical time of the customer first getting the product in their hands. So one point that I've alluded to a few times that is worth breaking down is you need to get clear about what your customer's key buying criteria is. If you don't understand that, then all of these other efforts are not going to be as effective. So what does a customer need to know in order to confidently buy your product? Some of that information is going to be given to you through your reviews or through your returns, but there are also just other details that you may identify, be it through your keyword research or through understanding your product category and brand, that you simply know to be true. So when I say keywords are indicating to us what customers are shopping for. So in the case of anything that's having to do with your computer, people are going to want to know about compatibility. So is this compatible with my MacBook M2 Air laptop computer, or is this only compatible with PC or whatever it is? And sometimes even if it's compatible with everything, people still want to see that spelled out. And that's why you will see those search terms that are including those specific details within their searches. So the keywords can be a great point of identifying those, as well as just understanding what else might this product be interacting with. What are the circumstances that somebody is using this item? Where are they using it? When are they using it? With whom are they using it? For example, if this is something that's going to be a household with children or pets, then that may influence concerns around safety. And if this is something that's non-toxic, which if it's non-toxic, you need to be careful about the kind of language that you use on Amazon if you're selling there. Of course, there are a million different things that you have to keep in mind. And don't worry, if you're finding all of this totally overwhelming, first of all, that's very normal. But second of all, if you would like some help with this and you're feeling like it's simply too much, please feel free to reach out. We are happy to help take some of this off your plate. You can go to marketingbyemma.com and get started by getting your free listing or product page analysis. So my last tip for today's video is perhaps the most unexpected but most critical, which is buying items online. It becomes very easy and a lot of people's default to buy more than one option. In other words, if you need a new shirt or a new pillow, you're not just going to be buying one. You're going to buy a few because you don't want to waste your time trying to figure out which one is best. And so you're just going to buy a handful. That happens very frequently. So if you are not cognizant of that, if you are not keeping that in mind, then you are going to be subject to a set of returns that are simply, you just didn't make the cut. Maybe you were the most expensive option and you didn't justify that expense. Perhaps the other one was better suited for their needs. But you know what? If you do a better job of differentiating your product and making it crystal clear from the front end why you are superior, then you are going to minimize the likelihood of customers buying multiples because they just have that confidence that they are buying the best one for them, and they're going to stop their search. They're going to just go ahead, add to cart, or even better, buy now. So you want to make sure that you are very, very clear about what makes you unique, what makes you special, and what makes you different than all of the other options that are out there, both on the internet and in retail spaces. And if you're not doing that, then you are going to be not only generating more returns for yourself, but you're really going to be limiting your ability to grow your business in the way that you want. Now, differentiation is a massive topic, and that's why I have a whole video that goes in depth into exactly how to take your strategic differentiation to the next level. And I'm going to go ahead and link that here right now. So I strongly suggest that you go watch that, and I will see you over there. But in the meantime, bye.